months.
I'm just the
Mama,
favourite.
say mama.
My poo's looking at me and it won't go away. No.
Please describe what you just did for our listeners on Spotify. Oh, no, we can't reshare that.
It's funny as hell. Good morning, evening, everybody.
Whatever time you're
listening.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unhelpful Parenting Podcast.
Got a fun one today.
Yeah, a spooky one.
A creepy one.
Creepy. We put the question out.
Happen to line this up with whatever crap happens on the 31st of October, or is this just conveniently timed?
It was actually conveniently timed. If you can't tell by the way that Sam is referencing Halloween, we are not very big Halloweeners. But that's okay. We are talking, the question we put out.
In Australia, that's all.
Yeah. The question we put out was, what's the creepiest thing your kid has said or done? And we have heaps of answers to that. We've also got a confessional or two. And we will start with our yays or nays and if you must, a dad joke. So I'll kick us off with my yay. I actually made it to the salon this week. I put it in the calendar and was like, it is happening. And I have my eyebrows done.
I didn't notice. I'm not going to lie.
Our 5-year-old noticed, so you should have. The fact that I even have eyebrows at the moment, like if you side by side this with last week's episode, I even tried to draw them on last week and it was like, I'm very blonde and fair if you are listening and not watching. So if I don't actually get my eyebrows done, they disappear and they go so light that you can't see them. So that was my yay. For mums, that's like, it's a big deal to get to the salon when you've got kids that are little. I even had to take one of them with me and chuck him on an iPad just so that he, like, I've the last 3 appointments taken each one of the kids individually. Anyway, I made it. It happened. My my nay is our baby won't say my name. He will not say mama. He is like 13 months, I think. Yeah. Well into like talking age and zero interest in mama. Everything is dada. He knows who
Literally
you are.
Everything,
but he knows it's you too. He points at you and when he's looking for you, he's like,
it's
dada.
Everything. Like it's every sound he says.
He's got no now as well.
Yeah, I know.
So me and the 5-year-old yesterday were trying to
because I keep yelling at him going, no.
Me and the 5-year-old were trying to get him to say mama, like mama, mama, mama. And it started off with mama, dada, mama, dada, mama, dada. And then mama, no. Mama, no.
I used to say too, but
nobody won't do that for mama.
No,
so that's just breaking my heart a little bit. I didn't mind at first that he said dad first because the other two said mum first. And so I was like, oh, especially being that this is our last time round, it's nice that he said yours first. But it's been months.
I'm just the
mama,
favorite.
say mama.
I'm just the favorite.
I'm the one that gets up in the middle of the night every night to feed you. I am sleep deprived.
Except for lately when you then tag me in. So, you know, I'm also the favourite.
In like once a week. Don't even.
Also, it's been twice this week, but I'm also the favourite. So, you know, which is my yay that he only says my name. So he's sucked in. And my nay is travelling for work with kids. I feel like it gets harder the more kids and the older they get because they actually start missing you and noticing. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is harder now, yeah. When I think the first trip you ever did for work was when our oldest was 3 months old. And you were like ringing every day, like to talk to her and to check that she was.
She couldn't have given us
care. I was being really kind, trying to be like, okay, you can. Here's the phone, baby. Like it didn't matter. Whereas now it's like the preemptive, like daddy's going to travel for work soon.
Yes, I had to pre-warn the 5-year-old the other day.
Yeah.
What? So for how long?
That's how I feel.
So, yeah, no doubt we'll be...
Don't worry, no one's yaying that you're leaving.
I kind of am.
Oh, you're not allowed to come back tired. I know you'll be working nights and stuff.
This is the tough thing. Like, it's like I love traveling and I I'm going to go see mates and hang out with mates as well. So, like, it will be nice and doing the work I love. But there is the downside of missing the kids and being away from the kids. Yeah. And you. suppose.
Thanks.
But yeah, that's my name.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, I do have one. This one was actually sent in. I'm trying to work out how to
Just say it and bleep it.
All right. Friend, what did your wife do just before she had the baby? Me. She screamed really loud and a bit of poo came out. Friend, I meant work-wise. Oh, bookkeeping. Oh, that was pretty good. Oh, that was pretty funny.
I mean, everything after you've just had a baby is like
The
about
scream.
birth
I
of the
did
baby.
substitute scream
For swearing.
for swearing.
Yeah, I get that.
But I thought it was quite funny.
Funny. Cool. All right, into the confessional we go. My baby wouldn't sleep. I was struggling and could see absolutely no reason he should still be crying. I ended up at 3 a.m. shouting at him to go to sleep. Took him to the doctor the next day because he was still going and turned out he had a double ear infection. Oops.
Oops. We did that with one of our kids. But
What
he's
a
got like an
confession,
epic
yeah. I
pain
feel like
threshold.
most parents. Oh, you mean like the whole, we didn't take him to the hospital until it was
He was
almost
like one. No,
too
he
late.
was, what, 1.5? Yeah, 1.5. And he had tonsillitis. But we'd dose him up in Panadol. He'd be like, fine. He'd be like the perfect baby.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, okay, it's obviously not that bad. Like whatever is happening. It might be teeth or it might be whatever. And then he got a little bit of a fever that wouldn't go away. And we're like, oh, okay, we'll take you to the hospital. And then they're like, his tonsils are touching. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And he stayed in for like, what, 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, because it was like, I remember I took him in because it was like the mum intuition. That's the only mum intuition moment I think I've ever had. And I was like, I need to take him to the hospital. And even you were like, really? Can't we just wait for the doctor? And I was like, no, I think he needs to. Took him in. Even the triage nurse was kind of like rolling her eyes when I was telling her. And then the doctors looked in his mouth and were like,
Well, they checked
you're
him over.
not going anywhere.
Well, they checked him over and they're like, yeah, he's fine. And then they were like, oh, we should probably check his throat. And then saw
Then
his
they were
tonsils and all right.
So, yes.
Dosed him up on a lot of stuff.
Yes. It's hard when they're babies and they can't tell you what's wrong. That's really hard. Because we've had the same poor second middle child had the same thing when he was a little baby. He needed to go to hospital and I didn't take him because I was like, no, I'm not going to overstress. He's fine. He just needs to sleep it off. He's fine. And then, oh, no, he's not fine.
That was when he was really dopey.
Yeah, and he
Nearly
had a
had to
UTI
have
and oh my gosh, it was
IV antibiotics and the whole shebang.
that's my confession. So yeah, shouting at your kid in their sleep, like
It's great.
I actually had it, sorry to continue adding our stories to it, but this reminded me of our latest child. I hit that moment. I think everyone hits that moment where you are so sleep deprived and it's the middle of the night and you just don't know what else to do and everything in you just bubbles up and it's like, ah! I had that and like yelled at the baby. It was like, just go to sleep. And he did. It was like, I'd put him down. He kept crying and I was like, just go to sleep. And he did. And then I felt really bad and I sat up for the next like half hour watching him being like, do I pick you up and cuddle you? I feel bad for yelling at you, but now you're asleep and yeah, it's tough.
He's asleep.
I get it.
Go to bed.
All right, these next two confessionals, I'll let you read them, but they were actually sent in for the creepy stories. They weren't really creepy, but they were hilarious. So I was like, nah, I'm just going to squish them into the confessional.
Sure. My son did a poo as long as the S-bend of the toilet, needing a stick to break it up and get it to flush. He said, Mum, my poo keeps looking at me and it won't flush. Oh, great.
Like, I get why that's on the creepy thing because, like,
That's a
where
big
where was all of that?
How's the little butthole? Like, if it's that big. Anyway.
It is probably something of nightmares. You don't want to hear your kids say, Mum.
My poo's looking at me and it won't go
flush.
away.
If I hear that from the bathroom, I'm like, Sam, that's a daddy problem.
And then when the 5-year-old says, oh, I missed the toilet, I go, Mummy, that's your problem.
She calls out, Mummy, I had an accident. And I'm like, I don't even want to know. But anyway.
Peed all over the floor.
That was back in toilet training days. She's good now. But.
My kid said, which nut do you reckon I came out of, Dad?
So So inquisitive.
Left or right? I mean, are you left-handed or right-handed?
Does that make a difference?
I don't know. That's what I'd run with. I'd be like, oh, you're left-handed, so you came out of the left one.
What a random thing for a kid to say. Like,
I mean, he's inquisitive on the body.
yeah.
Biology. He might become a good biologist one day.
Oh, that's great. Kids are great. Well, yeah, we're not going to go too deep into the confessional. That's it for today because the amount of spooky, creepy things that
Weird
got sent
things.
in. Yeah, we will preface this with, yes, we're not very big Halloweeners ourselves.
And yet here we are doing a creepy episode on the week of Halloween.
Well, I had it in the list of questions that would be really interesting to ask. And then I just put it out and then it just timed itself to be this episode.
Oh, no, it's the day after. So technically tomorrow is going to be Halloween.
Yeah. Well, it depends when you listen to this.
But when we record it.
It's the next week, yeah.
It's, no. Like when this comes out, when this is released, the day after its release will be Halloween. So you've literally timed this.
Perfectly.
Stupidly well.
The reason we're not big Halloween is, yes, we're Australian. It is kind of starting to become a thing in Australia. For me, I'm like, if we're going to steal any overseas holiday, why does it have to be the creepy one? Why can't it be like Thanksgiving where it's thankful and happy and food?
Just not ollies, diabetes.
Yes.
Yeah, give me like a hot roast meal.
I don't need another dress-up party thing for the year. I've whinged about that on the podcast before. We've had back-to-back costume after costume after costume this year, and I don't need to add another one into the list.
I just don't do horror crap. Like, I don't understand the appeal or the, like, you know, we have Movie World, you have Spooky Nights, like it's epic.
It's not.
But I don't find joy in walking around and getting scared.
Yeah. It's not our thing, but we appreciate some people love it. And also kids can do some really creepy things. So that's where this came from. Not so much out of a love for Halloween, but yes, I'm usually really sensitive to, I've always been scared of the dark and like, I don't need stories to freak me out. So yes, the stories that came in though, I'm like,
are good.
Whoa,
They're
I
very
don't
good.
even, yeah. So, well, part of the reason this was on the list as the questions we're going to put out there and talk about
Was because you thought of something, didn't you?
Yeah, our daughter, was it last Christmas? She was older. She was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think so.
She got given a dollhouse for Christmas and a bunch of these little dolls and all the furniture, everything. Loved it. She loved it. The day after Christmas, set it up, played with it. Then the next day, I come downstairs to her playing with it. She's got all the furniture perfectly lined out, everything, playing with the dolls. And then I look, I have to do a double take. She's pulled the heads off all of the dolls and lined them up next to the bed. And I'm like, oh, what happened? And she's like, Mummy, that's where they go. And I'm like, okay. if you turn into a psychopath one day,
you found it really creepy.
I guess this will be one of the first signs that we'll look back to.
I didn't find it that creepy. I didn't overthink it.
I thought that was super creepy. I'm like,
I was like, okay, overthinking
go.
everything. But anyway.
Yeah. So, but yes.
She has your weird dark streak though. Because she also told a bad joke.
Yes. Oh man. It was only recently. She's in the car on the way home from school, and she's like, "Mummy, can I tell you a joke?" And she loves jokes, and she gets jokes.
She literally gets
library
joke books from libraries and all sorts of stuff.
And she's like, "Mummy, I've got a funny joke for you." And I was like, "Okay, tell me." And she said, "Knock knock." I said, "Who's there?" And she's like, "A car." And I was like, "Oh, a car who?" And she's like, "Oh, the car crashed." And I was like, "Oh, that's not funny." And she's like, "Yes, it is." It's like, "Why is it funny?" And she's like, "'Cause it's on fire." And I was like, "Oh, a car on fire is not funny." And she's like, "Yes, it is, because there's people in the car." And I was like, "Oh, that doesn't sound very nice at all." And she's like, "Yeah, there's people in the car and they're on fire." And just started laughing. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I was like, quick, move on, play your favorite song on the radio. Let's just pretend this never happened. I don't know how to deal with it. So, yeah, kids can say all sorts of creepy things, random things.
When they don't understand, you burn and die when you're on fire.
Yeah, I don't think she understood, but it was very creepy. Like,
especially when the circus lights people on fire and they run around and go,
yeah, here's hoping that's where it came from. And
again, you're overthinking it. So let's move on because
Well, other kids
I
have
think
said
you're making it as weird
other
as...
things have said creepy, weird things. So you can kick this one off.
When my son was 5, we had our mates over and it was nighttime. They were riding around in the backyard, and as he rode into a dark spot, our friend's kid, who was 4, got scared. My son turns around in a soft whisper voice and said to her, "I like the dark." The way he said it was so creepy.
That's impressive because kids don't normally like the dark either. Like
Yeah, so
that's
I think that's the creepy bit.
That's the extra creepy. It's like, I like the dark.
Turn the lights off with the kids and all the kids are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I like the dark."
All right.
Okay.
Are you ready for this next one?
Sure.
My niece asked if there were any recipes for cooking humans. She's 3 years old. I got some people I want to cook.
All right, Hannibal Lecter. Bloody
I
hell.
know, right?
My youngest asked me once, "If you died, would I get your dessert?" He really liked his food.
Feeling the love. Yeah, if something just happened to you right now, would I get to
your
eat
ice cream?
Would I get to eat your plate of food?
I sometimes think that when you're eating ice cream and I want it. Not really.
Creepy. My granddaughter asks constantly when I'm going to die so she can have my engagement ring.
I mean, if you want it.
I think it's like funny because they don't understand.
No, they have no concept
It's
of...
hilarious, but it's also creepy.
any of it, but
Like you
it's-
don't want to be thinking about like.
Well, if it was said by anyone other than a child, you'd be like, okay.
But they weren't just saying weird things. There were a lot of sleep stories. You can read the first one. There were a lot. Yeah, I've only put 2 in here because there were so many similar to this.
When my daughter was 3, she would get out of bed and come stand over me while I was sleeping in bed, staring. It would actually wake me up and all I'd see was this blank stare piercing through at me.
Creepy. I've had like the kids have woken us up before and absolutely freaked us out.
It's freaked you out. I haven't been freaked out.
Are you kidding? I still vividly remember like one of the toddlers running down the hallway and I heard them and they come into our room and you're like, I'm like, didn't you hear them coming? You were obviously asleep. So
Okay. Apparently I have.
yeah. Well, here's my daughter used to sleepwalk. Once she tried to go out the front door, but the creepy things were when she would stand at the end of our bed and stare at us. And another time she circled the dining room table 3 times, then collected the teaspoons from the drawer and took them back to bed with her. It was so weird.
The sleepwalk stories are so funny because you just watch kids do things and you're like,
It is creepy.
what are you dreaming about, right? Like, what is going on in your brain right now?
Yeah, it's
Because your brain just recreates space. Like,
Yeah.
it uses the same layout, but it recreates spaces.
I know because I'm not much of a sleepwalker. I'm more of a sleep talker. But when you wake me up or you tell me about stuff, I'm like, no, in my head that felt real. Like I was having a real logical. Oh, that's creepy. The fact that that even happens to us is creepy. Like,
Doesn't happen to me. You're the creepy one. I have another one.
yeah.
When my daughter was 4, she would get up in the middle of the night and go to the end of her bed and talk to someone. Her light would turn on. She couldn't reach it. And I would have to tell this invisible person that it was time for her to go back to sleep or else she'd keep laughing and talking to this person.
Oh,
That's weird.
that is creepy, especially with the light turning itself on. Like, if she can't reach the light and the light is on, mum's having to go into the room or dad's having to go into the room and tell this person to. Oh, I get it. There were quite a lot of those, like, my kid talks to spirits or my kid talks to people that aren't there, and yeah.
Anyway,
And
next.
then, well, off the back of that, there are a lot of stories of kids knowing things that they couldn't know about.
Like,
Like, my 4-year-old daughter kept talking about her brother. She's an only child. I told her she didn't have a brother. She said yes, she did for a little while. Then one day he was just gone. She didn't think I'd ever met him. We hadn't told her at the time, but she was a twin and I'd miscarried the other twin. I don't know.
okay.
Yep, that's one that'll make you think. That's a bit.
You never know.
Never know what they know.
Interesting. And I'm not, yep, cool. Another one.
Mm-hmm.
One day our 4-year-old randomly started telling us about the day she was born and what it was like. She described in detail what happened and how things felt. we don't talk to her about her birth because it wasn't straightforward and it's not really a conversation she'd understand yet. But she got it all spot on and it was freaky as heck.
Oh, that is creepy. Like, could you imagine remembering being born? Is that a thing? I feel like I've heard...
Anyway. No.
Please describe what you just did for our listeners on Spotify.
No. They're going to have to watch
birthed
YouTube.
himself through his hands.
Best,
So
I just
inappropriate.
squished my hands, but I mean, I squished my face with my hands. But, you know.
Oh, that's just, I 100% count on the fact that our children will never, ever, ever remember what it was like in that room when they were born. To be honest, sometimes part of me is like,
I wonder
wish
if you
could
ever
forget
hear
some
the
of that.
story of like people going to the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe it's not death. Maybe they're just remembering their birth.
Oh, no, thank you.
Anyway, continue. Last one.
Last one. My granddaughter always talks about her sister in heaven. She only has a big brother and neither of her parents haven't had another child.
That they know of.
They know of. This is where people go into, oh, was it a past life or was it a... Yeah, who knows where they get these things from.
It just makes me think of that.
Is this about to be inappropriate? Or can you see my level of trust here right now? What does it make you think of?
That comedian that tells the story of reincarnation.
Oh, no, we can't reshare that.
It's funny as hell. Anyway.
Sam has a lot of inappropriate things he likes to joke and laugh about. So if you go follow him on the Unhelpful Dad, you'll probably get a sense of... You've got to get better at posting on there, actually, by the way. I
share
tell
a
people
lot of stories.
Okay. I tell people to go follow you there, but...
I share a lot of stories. I just don't have the time to recreate stuff. And all the stuff I want to recreate, Beck's like, you can't recreate that. That's offensive. And I'm like, but it's funny.
He literally, that dad joke one, when he first found that, he's like, we should reenact this for the podcast.
It'd be
I was like,
hilarious.
only if you're the one acting like you're in labor and about to push out a baby. I would actually love to see that. Put in the comments if you want to see Sam reenact a birth story. That would actually be hilarious. I'll get you a Thames machine too, so that you don't have to like really reenact. It would be like you can experience the pain.
It would be like a skit thing. I'm not doing a real thing.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, this is growing.
No.
I'm so excited. We are doing this. Put in the comments, comment on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you can. Send us a message to be like, yes, Sam needs to do the Tens machine. I am so excited.
No, get stuffed. It's not happening.
It is. If we get enough people say that they want to see him do it, he'll have to do it. So
I think my work trip just got extended. What a shame. Indefinitely.
Sam's going to run away.
I'm not tensing. No,
We'll see.
I'm not using a
we
tens
will
machine.
see. I would love to see that.
No.
I think most wives would love to see their husbands. Like,
I'm happy for them.
that.
We don't always get what we want.
I'll remind you of that later tonight. Well, that's it for this week. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, rate, review, wherever you're watching. Just show us some love. Help us reach some other mums and dads. I don't know what the next question is going to be.
I was literally about to say, what's the next one?
I don't know. I haven't planned it yet because life is crazy and busy. So if you want to know what the next one is and if you want to send us your stories, make sure you jump on our socials.
Or if you have an
follow us
idea of
there.
what a next one could be,
Clearly we need some ideas. I just have
comment
not
below.
planned ahead. But look, my last minute planning obviously worked with the timing of this episode and Halloween. Like yep. I'm gonna claim that. I planned it so well.
All right, creep.
Anyway, we will see you next week.
Bye.